We'll have a look at Procrastination by Samuel Johnson. After Shakespeare, Samuel Johnson may well have had more influence on English literature than any other figure, for his authority insinuated itself into the ongoing yield of the language at least three distinct levels. First, idea. His fable for happiness, Rasselas, sentence, sample any of his resourceful and wise secular sermons published as a rambler, and even Word as the creator of the great 1755 Dictionary of the English Language. Samuel Johnson was a peerless critic, say his preface to the plays of Shakespeare or his lives of the most eminent English poets, an accomplished poet, The Vanity of the Human Wishes, and a superb biographer, Life of Mr. Richard Savage. He is equally renowned as a subject of one of the most famous biographical works ever written, The Life of Samuel Johnson by James Boswell. Johnson's prose is a formal marvel, each sentence mitring cadence clauses into an elegant and sonorous design. A little remote from today's more demotic literary expression, it refreshes the linguistic attention of anyone who takes the time to appreciate its music. Most tellingly, that music is often in the service of measuring human frailty with sensitivity and sympathy, as in Procrastination. Now, what happens in Procrastination? The essay begins as Dr. Johnson or Samuel Johnson sits deliberating on which of the various subjects that came to mind he had to write about on to submit to that day's paper. Okay, so he had many ideas in his head, so he was wondering on which of the subjects that came to his mind he had to write about on to submit to his, or write about, there's no need of on, he had to write about to submit to that day's paper. He meditated upon it and could not come to a decision, and the matter lingered on till at last he was awakened from this futile exercise by a summons from the press. The author then was forced to shake off his sluggishness and finally write, because he now had no more time to spare or waste. Johnson realizes that for a writer of his caliber, a sudden composition is not an unaccomplishable task. Yet, he could not forgive himself for having neglected a task for so long that could have been accomplished long back without so much hurry and difficulty. Dr. Johnson found solace in the thought that he could complete the task while many others would have failed to do that. In his case, diligence was useful, but in many others, the last-minute diligence would have borne no fruit. Many others would not have been able to regain the opportunities that slipped away, and the outcome would be hopeless calamity and barren sorrow. One of the greatest follies among people is to delay what we know we cannot finally escape. We have great liking for the time present, and therefore, if there is a pain to be endured or a hard labor to be done, it is only natural that we postpone it. We believe that another day might make it easier to get that job done. Therefore, we make ourselves believe that that moment when the work needs to be done is pretty far removed from us. Therefore, life is languished away in the gloom of anxiety and is spent in being temporarily resolute that only dissipates the next morning. We make excuses for the delay we ourselves create, knowing well that they are absurd. As we put off what we have to do, our firmness and determination to do that work is hourly impaired. Every time we let fear take over, the fear becomes greater. Not only do we waste time that we could put to good use to beat the terrors, but we also increase these terrors by allowing its space to grow. Johnson notes that it is easier to act than to suffer, yet the process of life is let to retard by inertia. Johnson then mentions that laziness is more than anything associated with timidity. It is fear that makes people avoid labor, fear of failure that brings terror to our minds. Fear brings on us miseries that do not even yet exist. People who are not diligent and prompt have much to lose in life. Those who freeze in idleness gain nothing. Labor is always punctually rewarded, and to sink under weak temptations is to give up that success. Idleness, in fact, can never bring tranquility. The call of reason and of conscience will not let an idle man sleep. Idleness does not bear any good fruit. Idle hours are consumed by far more vexing activities that bring no happiness to the idle man. There are other reasons of idleness. People who do many things at the same time, seem to have many pursuits, will end up advancing in nothing. So he will remain idle and he will keep on procrastinating things. Also, those who keep wondering which possibility or way is the best to reach a goal will pause in the choice of his road till some accident intercepts his journey. Others who contemplate too much before beginning a work will be lost in plans and schemes but never really accomplish the task. A man who plans to build a house will not lay a stone if he hopes to make a perfect house. If he plans to include every convenience known to him in the house, draw plans and study Palladio. Palladio is an architect. So if you keep on studying everything and not really build a house, you'll never build a house. One who wants to write should write instead of amassing materials, consulting others, and studying all the dependent materials. Someone who attempts for perfection will not be easily content, and since perfection cannot be reached, we lose the opportunity of doing anything well in the vain hope of unattainable excellence. The duration of life is not certain, and it will probably be much shorter. It will probably be much shorter than nature allows. This realization ought to awaken every man and nudge him into action instead of procrastinating. It is also true that death can cut short any great attempt. However, it is honorable to have fought the battle even though victory could not be ascertained. Okay, these are the major points that para by para and paraphrase ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. These are the major ideas in Dr. Johnson's Procrastination. Thank you.